we we've been listening to Miss Risa Tessa, the blogger, who
Or is it
TF,
Risa Tisa? But I mean, what a
who
storyteller.
TF did I marry? And it's 50-part blog, like 10 minutes each. And she's talking about who TF did I marry? What are your thoughts, initial thoughts?
She's a brilliant storyteller. And who TF did she marry? Oh my God. Like, who lies about everything? So wait, I'm not quite finished. So please, no spoilers. We can do spoilers later.
Won't do spoilers. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, I'm only up to episode 8 and I understand the storytelling. The only reason I'm probably watching it is because people have told me to. I get it, I guess. But what I think I'm intrigued about most with the whole thing is that they're saying she's changing TikTok. So she's about to change the way that they're doing this. And perhaps like TikTok, they're even saying might start creating episodes. So I just find this all fascinating that she created something completely different within this realm.
And also the power of TikTok. I remember when it was Musical.ly and it was like a karaoke app. And then, I mean, honestly, it has like taken over the world. But she's an absolute, her stories, I just sit there and listen to her over. And I'm like, I can just stare at her and listen.
She's a phenom. Okay, can I correct myself? It is Tisa Risa.
I will say her hair looks great in every episode.
I only saw rollers.
Right, I saw her in the rollers.
You guys, and then you guys
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
She
finally gets her hair off those rollers.
Episode 6, from then on, she takes them out and it looks great. I mean, I know, yes, she was in rollers. That was like, she obviously had somewhere to be, but.
No, but listen, it also could be a marketing strategy because you want to see the after.
So it was, you know what? That's funny when you said that because you know how you have those TikTok videos where they do their makeup and tell their stories? Yes. That's kind of what it felt like, but she wasn't doing her makeup. She had rollers. So I was like, okay, maybe she'll take them out.
Well, you know,
but you're right. It was like a TikTok like that.
The advice I give people currently now is in social media is to be as vulnerable as possible and just show your real self. And I think that might have, I mean, she seems smart enough, so I think it could be a marketing ploy as well.
First of all, there are 2 things that I want to say about her. One, that she, of course, as most Black women do, created something and now it's going to change everything. And then 2,
boom.
I want to.
That was our cheers.
And then 2, of course, I wanted to look up about how this applies to the entrepreneurial pursuit. I believe that your team is like a marriage, right? And so, you know, how do you pick your partner? And so I looked up what the 3 things that Warren Buffett looks for. And he says integrity, intelligence, and energy. But then he says, and if they don't have the first, the other 2 will kill you. So integrity is where it all starts. And so I looked up, there's this, it's called a psychometrics test that can be done. And I'm going to put the link in our post to take the test or to give the test to someone that you want to be a teammate with.
Ooh. Oh, and don't forget, you can find it in our show notes.
Yeah. So the key to who TF do you marry is integrity.
Yes. And it's interesting because people so many times after they've broken up, it takes hindsight is 20/20, but you look back and there are so many red flags, she gives 100 million red flags and she still didn't believe them, right? When someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Welcome to Sispreneur Stories. We're a podcast created by 3 7th-generation sister entrepreneurs. I'm Kanji Anthony.
I'm Aurora.
And I'm Janita.
Our family's background in business, particularly our father's business, drove us to create this podcast. We believe that women are strong and capable enough to balance being bold in the workplace while nurturing our households.
Today's theme is Black Female Entrepreneurs Unleashed. In a world where entrepreneurship knows no bounds, where business innovation has become the norm, one group stands out, poised for success, yet facing unique challenges. According to American Express, Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the United States, with nearly 2.7 million businesses nationwide. But even with their growing presence in the business world,
these women face disproportionate financial headwinds. A Harvard Business Review study finds 61% of Black women self-fund their total startup capital, but only 29% of Black female entrepreneurs live in households with incomes over $75,000.
Hello, Memphis. I'm Ernest Strickland, President and CEO of the Black Business Association of Memphis. In a world filled with noise, we stand firm, advocating for the prosperity of our community. The Black Business Association has been an anchor for Memphis entrepreneurs, navigating challenges and championing resilience. As the title sponsor of Sispreneur Stories, may each episode be a catalyst for personal growth, resilience, and inspiration.
This month's powerful Sispreneur story begins right now with Jozelle Luster Booker.
Jozelle Luster Booker presently serves as the president and CEO of the MMBC Continuum and its sister organization, the training arm of the operation, the Tennessee MBDA Business Center. As the leader of both entities, she supports the growth and development of minority and women-owned businesses through advocacy, business consulting, capacity building, public and private contract connections, and access to capital. Memphis Business Journal's Power 100 and most recently recognized as one of Memphis's most powerful people. We're going to talk more about her background in these questions. She has quite the extensive experience. And so it's so exciting to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm happy to be here.
If you could just talk to us about how you got into the space of helping others to create and build their own businesses, and especially specifically minority females.
So my journey started early in my career while at Memphis Light Gas and Water. Before I moved into procurement, I worked for 8 years in economic development. I was housed with the MLGW Economic Development Department at the Chamber of Commerce. And at that time, I was a market researcher. And my job basically was to collect and compile information that was used to present to site selectors and companies that were interested in locating to Memphis. And so my start began in economic development, selling Memphis, looking at data, looking at, demographics. I'm a market researcher by trade. And so when the utility company created its supplier diversity department, and they posted a job for the first ever supplier diversity officer, I read that job description and that job posting, and I said, that's economic development.
Jozelle, just out of curiosity, what year is this?
This is 1997. Well, the posting hit in 1996. And so I looked at that. That was when supplier diversity and minority spending programs first made its entrance here in this Memphis market, because it was right after there'd been a combined disparity study that was funded by all of the public entities here, where each organization spend was examined and how they spent money with minority and women-owned businesses. And from that, each of these entities created, their own supplier diversity programs. So Memphis Light Gas and Water positioned and structured its program where it would be led by a supplier diversity officer. So I looked at that, and everything that I read about the job description, the requirements, and the outcomes that they were looking for, and I said, this is economic development. And that's what I'd been doing for the past 8 years. And so once I got started in really looking at where the utility spent its money, how it spent money, understanding contracts, because keep in mind, I didn't have any procurement or contracting experience, but I had a policy, basically a policy statement and some recommendations that the consultant provided to the utility. And from that, I was told to create a program. And if you can imagine, if you're old enough to imagine, back in 1997, there were no personal desktop computers.
Oh, my goodness.
And you're right. And there were no applications. And so I was charged with, the president at the time told me, he said, I want our suppliers to look like our customers. and just working across the organization with different departments, understanding what we bought, how we bought it, who was in the, marketplace that could sell goods and services, that I really just was able from a blank slate to create a program. And that was only because of the commitment by the board at the time and by the president and the executive leadership of MLGW. And from that, it just grew. The more I worked with these businesses, talked with them, was just amazed, at the types of services in the marketplace at that time that minority businesses were able to offer to a company in an industry where we know that a lot of the materials and the services in the utility industry are not provided by minority and women-owned businesses, but looking for those opportunities to maximize those areas where we did spend dollars on goods and services.
A lot of people know how to follow processes that have been established before them, but the energy that it takes to be a creator, that is the type of energy that innovators and entrepreneurs have, and you have that inside of you to have been able to create that kind of program. Wow.
Right. So think about, you have a job and there are no boundaries, okay? You have the leadership support that wants it to be successful. They communicate across the enterprise. This is our supplier diversity officer. She will be meeting with you. She'll be contacting you. Because when you think about it, at the start of it and at the root of supplier diversity is just that. You want a diverse base of suppliers. And so it is it's the precursor to the procurement and the solicitation process. It's making sure that the people that go to the market looking to buy goods and services know that there are minority businesses that exist. But the more I got into understanding procurement, so I had to understand first the procurement process. I asked a lot of questions. I met with a lot of people. So for me, who are we spending with now? And then to promote across the community that my door is open. I want to hear from you, understanding the types of experiences that business owners had trying to get into the utility. So created an open door environment, listening, educating businesses. This is how to do business with us. And so while the program grew, I grew in understanding procurement, but then also asking questions. Well, who did you send these bids to? Why did no minority businesses bid? Oh, what are the requirements? Sharing what the requirements are. How do you qualify? These are the process steps. And so I was very fortunate, as I said, to have that type of support, enterprise-wide, up and down. Meeting with areas, it was new. People were curious about what was going on, but then also looking for ways to invite people in, creating internal councils and external councils where people could share with me the challenges that they had. And then looking outward at those service providers in the marketplace that were helping those businesses. And so early in my career of developing the supplier diversity program, there down the street sat this organization called the MMBC Continuum. At the time, it was called the Mid-South Minority Business Continuum, had not been added to the name, but they were a resource. And the success of the program that I had at MLGW would not have been possible or as successful had there not been an MMBC Continuum, because MMBC certified those businesses that I was looking for to do business with.
This absolutely all is linked to one another, and it's important because it's like if you don't look and see and make sure that your business is reflecting what's happening outside as an owner, you cannot go ahead and get that diversity and bring people in. And as a result, resources might not be able to come from people of color and things like that. And this all leads me into my next question. So thank you for setting me up for that. I wanted to know how you feel about, so with resources, you were just talking about that. And how do you feel the growth of resources? What it's looking like for you in the emerging Black female demographic? How do you see that?
Resources, I think there's an abundance of resources. And I think it is overwhelming to resource seekers.
Yes.
Because if you're new to this space, sometimes you may not know everything that you need. People do need to know what resources are out there. And my advice to any business owner is to be curious and be fearless and be unashamed, unapologetically unashamed. And what I mean by that, in the seat that I sat in at MLGW, business owners came because they were looking for an opportunity. They wanted access to an opportunity. And there may have been some things that they needed that they didn't have, but they didn't want MLGW to know, because if they kept that quiet or didn't ask that question, they thought that they could potentially get an opportunity. And it's good to go into the marketplace, look at potential customers or clients and understand what the opportunities are. But when you come to resource providers like, MMBC or MBDA or any local resource providers, that's where you have to be open. You have to say, look, this is where I am right now. This is where I'm trying to go. And I'm looking for a resource provider. It may not be you. You may know of another entity that really can provide me with what I need. But talk openly with whoever those resource providers are. Those people in those organizations, for the most part, are consultants. And there's a tight network of them. They know what they do, but they also know who else provides resources in the community that may not be exactly what they do, but they can help you. And so I want business owners to really look at where they are at this moment in time. But also, when you're talking to those resource providers, talk about where you want to go. Because when people come in and I talk to a company, if I'm talking to you and you're coming in and you're saying, I'm interested in the services that you're offering here at MMBC, my question to you, if you're the owner, how do you plan to spend your retirement? And you may say to me, I'm just starting out. I just started my business last month. I can't help you, really, really help you, unless I know what the end is for you. That's how we're going to connect all the dots. That's how we're going to build the plan for you. That's how I'm going to direct you to other resource providers if it's things that we don't provide. Because you might say, I want to grow this company and my plan is to, issue an IPO and sell stock, and then I'm going to sell this company. Well, that's a different plan from someone who says, I'm going to grow this business. I have a daughter. I want my daughter to come up in the business and I want to leave this for the next future generations. That's a different strategy for you.
Now, yes, it's the long game. I like that.
That makes me think, Jozelle, what you were just saying, when it comes to Black women, there's funding out there, but at the same time, if you look at the percentages, we are, less than 10% of getting funded for, startup ventures. And so, for instance, there's a ton of accelerators and mentorships for Black women. But sometimes, that there's not enough funding. It's like over-mentored, underfunded. What would you say, a start, because it's so, as you said, there's so many different avenues to find. What would you say is a start for, a Black woman in a product business or a certain,
Well, I think the first thing is to come in and sit down and talk with the consultant about what it is you want to do. Now, what you have to be careful of, and what I think I want any business that is operating within a space, especially if you're a minority-owned business and you're operating in a space where the companies that you're marketing to or your customers are going to require a certification for that classification of business, if that's a part of what they're spending. You have to be conscious and careful that if you look at venture capital or you look at someone that wants to buy equity in your business, that you're not giving away so much or selling so much or receiving funding or selling a portion of your equity where it changes the classification of your business.
Today's business tip is sponsored by Udl, connecting merchants with nearby consumers.
Hi, it's Janita, and I have your business tip of the day. We are talking about team building. We know that team building is often difficult and requires a lot of thoughtfulness because it is essentially a marriage. Now, one of the things to think about when building a team is skill alignment. Prioritize the candidates whose skills align with the specific needs of your business. Look for the individuals who not only have the technical skills, but strong cultural fit with your company's values and vision, which leads me to my second tip. Cultural fit and values alignment. Assess candidates not just for their skills, but for their alignment with your values and your culture. A team that shares common values and works well together is more likely to collaborate effectively, fostering a positive and productive work environment. Lastly, also consider diversity of thought and backgrounds. Building a team with diverse perspectives and backgrounds, seeking individuals who bring unique experiences and ideas to the table. This diversity can lead to innovation, creativity, and a broader understanding of your target audience, ultimately contributing to the success over your business. And that's your business tip for the day.
Can we do the soul snaps for this one, you guys? That was so good. Jozelle,
Soul snaps.
We do
Soul
soul
snaps.
snaps. When we hear something that is like, okay, hello. What you just said is the most incredible advice. You don't give away everything before you even really build it. That is such good advice.
Right. And so it's understanding that there's different types of products out there. There are organizations that have various types of funding tools. There are people in this country that are looking to support or invest in businesses in different industries, businesses owned by women, but it's tapping into and identifying where they are. We work with a couple of entities one is not located here in Tennessee, but it's a Black-owned capital market fund, a capital company, and they have access to, different types of funds where there are investors that are looking to invest in different types of businesses. But that is a process that you have to be counseled into. Like you say, you don't want to give away your equity, and you want to really understand what it is that you're doing. And so much of today, finances are tied to it. And the more a business owner really knows and understands about their own finances for their business, their own balance sheets, their own costing, how to create, what the price margins are and how costs should be allocated, the more successful they are. And that is intimidating to people. But we've identified a number of partners that we work with that can really break that information down, make it dissectable, and it's not so intimidating.
On that note, I'm just out of curiosity, as a layperson coming in and wanting to do something like this, where would you suggest they go as a first step? Because as you said, the first thing you said in the last part is to ask. And I think that is so important because people do get scared sometimes, like you said, maybe think they won't get the contracts. The first thing is to ask. So once you ask, where would you suggest the person would go to go find that information or find that mentor? Maybe just a couple of suggestions.
Well, first suggestion is the MMBC Continuum or the Tennessee MBDA Business Center, because it's not going to cost you anything. And we can conduct an assessment, understand what you want, and then direct you to resources that we think can help you based on what it is that you are trying to do for your business.
Awesome.
You know what
advice.
I really love that program you have. It's called the Growth Wheel. And It allows you to input your information and see pretty much your SWOT, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and then you're able to know what you need to focus on. So can you talk about, you guys have incredible resources.
Yeah, so that's a tool that we have. And what I love most about that tool, first of all, our staff had to go through a training program and become trained and certified as a Growth Wheel advisor. That gives us a platform where every business that we serve or support has a consistent way. We're consistently helping businesses grow. The other thing is all of your data and information is contained within that application. So if your service advisor changes, the next person that works with you can pick up where they left off. There's tools for each step within that process that you can help you manage your growth. So the program is designed where a business advisor can sit down with you and they can create 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day plans. And then there's continuous types of materials that they can provide to you if you're interested in one particular area. We also, through that, as a part of that, addition to that process, is our Cash Continuum program. And that is a program that gets back to your question about companies that need funding, they need capital, they need cash, they need working capital, or a line of credit if they have a contract. And this program or process allows us to intake a business, they go through the growth wheel process, and then from there, we identify all of the things that they need to, from this point in time today, until they're ready to sit in front of a funder or a banker. And it's all of the steps in between.
Do you have to be a Tennessee or Memphis resident for that?
We can do that virtually.
Okay,
some of the classes are virtual. Some of the engagements are virtual, but then some of the sessions are in classroom training, because that is the way the client gets the most out of that. So most of the sessions are in-house, but the consulting and the one-on-one can be done virtually. And with that, almost every bank in the city of Memphis have signed on to that program. They love it. And they're supportive of that. So they have bankers that will participate. We have bankers that will help with pitch competitions and help you get pitch ready to sit before a bank.
Wow, this is incredible information. I wanted to go back. You just mentioned education and, educating people. And out of curiosity, in your journey, I feel like your journey really exemplifies the power of education. And I was wondering how you feel about universities empowering women with skills needed for the resources and to help with entrepreneurship. How do you think that they could help more or showcase these resources for the entrepreneurship more? Like an HBCU or something.
Oh my gosh. HBCUs, I think, are incredible partners. Universities are really looking for opportunities to help businesses. They have learning labs for students, but just think about an opportunity for an HBCU to engage especially if it has a school of business or the various schools that they have. I think they are just sitting ready for an opportunity to have a learning lab or to have, some sort of externship program or, to have opportunities for the faculty and staff to engage with students. And then think about instructors, especially in the business school, and even in some of the technical areas, if they could have business owners and entrepreneurs to come in and use those companies as case studies. I think there's lots of opportunities for colleges and universities, and especially to look at ways to help women business owners or any business owner.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you.
So, I know we mentioned, we're 7th generation entrepreneurs, but I think we hail from the same area. Our mother is from Lorman, Mississippi. And, we used to have our family reunions in Jackson. Anyway, I noticed your origins. And can you speak to how, being a legacy of entrepreneurship, how that has played a role in your life?
That's interesting that you say that. I remember when I got ready to go to college, my paternal grandfather asked me what was I going to major in. And I told him, I said, I plan to major in marketing. And he said, marketing? He said, you need to major in something else. He said, you were born with business sense. And I was like, what? My great
Sorry, that made me giggle.
Yeah, my great grandparents owned a grocery store in downtown Vicksburg, Mississippi in the 1900s.
Wait a second. We might be related. Are you sure we're not cousins? That's right around us. And that's wow.
So they owned a grocery store in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Sometime after they started the grocery store, they purchased about 300 acres of land in rural Claiborne County. They grew vegetables on their land in Claiborne County that they sold in the grocery store in Vicksburg. So it's about 30 miles from Vicksburg.
Yep.
Their children became business owners. So one of their daughters married a guy and they opened a grocery store outside of Vicksburg on Highway 80, like going toward, Bovina. another aunt and her husband opened a cafe and motel. It's in the Green Book. It's Pillars Cafe and Motel. It was in the Green Book. I bought the Green Book thinking it was going to be in there, and it was in there. My dad's sister went to pharmacy school at Dillard. She opened a pharmacy at the same site where the cafe and the motel was. And so entrepreneurship and owning a business has been something that I grew up around. And I don't know, it just seemed, I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. Not that I am one now, but I work with them. And one thing I know about entrepreneurs is that they have a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to step out on your own. So I have great admiration and respect for any business owner and a person that takes that leap to step out, on their own. It takes a lot to be able to do that. And so in this work that we do, we take it so seriously because we know that people in many cases have risked a lot. Some people leave corporate cushy jobs and they want to bet on themselves. And it is our responsibility to make sure that we give them sound advice, good guidance, direction, connection to resources. And for us to say, when we can't help you, but to say we will find someone that can provide that to you, because there's so much riding on a lot of this for a lot of people.
Wow. Yes.
I'm like, wait a second. We need a couple of snaps. That just kind of took me back.
Yeah.
Woo!
So
snap.
So what is the best way for people to contact you and to also follow you? Because I'm just going to make a confession that we went to your conference this year. We launched our company in December, and we went to your conference and we got our first 2 clients there. So you literally changed the path of our company, Udall. So
we appreciate you, Jozelle.
Yeah.
And that conference this was the 16th year that this organization has presented that conference. And it is a convening, as you saw, of the entire community. Corporate America, private sector, public sector, community, resource providers, minority businesses, women-owned businesses, large businesses, small businesses, all coming together to talk about ways that economic prosperity and business growth can be, manifest and spread across this community. So we were very pleased with the outcome. Thanks to our sponsors, I'm so happy that you and your sisters came and had an opportunity to present your business on a larger, platform to a larger group of people, and happy to know that someone found something, successful and beneficial for their business, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And before, our last thing that we want to do with you, just to lighten it up a little bit, is just a couple of quick round questions. But before I do that, please make sure to let people know where to find you on the social media handles.
We are with the MMBC Continuum. We are on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You can also find the Tennessee MBDA Business Center on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I'm on all of those platforms as well. Look us up. That's on social media. We're located in downtown Memphis at 200 Jefferson on the 10th floor in Suite 1000. Reach out and contact us.
Yay! I love this. So now let's let our hair down, ladies, and have some fun. Ready?
Ready.
Let's do this. So we're going to do the Sispreneur lightning round questions. And it's just 3 fun 1-answer questions that's going to lighten up the conversation a little bit. So ready?
Okay.
You ready? So if you could have dinner with any dead or alive historical figure, who would it be and why?
Oh, dead or alive?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've heard other people get asked this question. And let me see, who would I want to have dinner with?
Why'd you have to say dead first, Aurora?
Well, let me tell you something. I would like to have dinner with Oprah. And let me tell you why. So Oprah grew up in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. Oprah went to an HBCU. I went to the Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Oprah, have dinner with her and have a chat.
I love that. We all love Oprah. We love Oprah.
A lot of wisdom there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Next question. What is your favorite guilty pleasure food that you indulge in from time to time? Be honest.
I love salted caramel gelato.
Ooh.
Yum.
It's the little, I think it's Italian. I can't think of and you buy it. It's a little small container and you're only supposed to eat like a couple of spoons at a time.
And you eat the whole thing.
If I'm watching something great on television, I'll get lost in it. And I'm like, oh no, I eat half of it. I love that stuff.
Get it. I'm so upset. Now that's on my radar. I love that stuff.
Savory and sweet. It's like savory and sweet, perfect combination. And then the cold all together.
Yes, it's delicious.
Oh
delicious.
my gosh.
Okay, so whoever eats it first has to take a shot and put it up on Instagram. Okay, ladies?
Oh my gosh.
Now that our appetite is wet for it. And now the last one. If you could teleport yourself anywhere in the world for just a weekend getaway, where would you go and why?
Oh, wow. Where would I go? Where would I go? You know, I love the water.
Mm-hmm.
I love the calmness of it and beaches. I think I would want to go to the Mediterranean.
Ooh.
And if there was a villa somewhere that I could look out and see that beautiful blue water and hear and
go to the
just
Greek islands.
Delicious wine. Oh, that would be wonderful.
You need to go to the Greek islands or something.
Where does our friend live? In Greece. That's where she needs to go. That's where you need to go.
Mykonos? You're talking about Mykonos?
Mykonos, yeah. But she lives like next. Oh my gosh, luxurious.
She needs to go to Santorini because I think Mykonos is the party.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. It is Santorini.
Okay.
Okay. You can just pack us in your bag and we'll go with you. No problem.
Well, I tell you, Jozelle, you had so much incredible information. It was just so rich. And we really can't thank you enough. Your time is precious, but we know that your words are going to be so helpful for so many. So thank you.
I'm so happy to be a part of your programming.
All right, Jozelle. And as we come to the close of this electrifying episode of Sispreneur Stories, we've been truly inspired by the remarkable journey of our guest, Jozelle Luster Booker. We hope that Jozelle's journey and her insights have ignited a spark of empowerment within you, encouraging you to embrace your dreams and take bold, decisive action. Remember, each step you take can shape your own path to success and create positive change. Thank you for joining us on Sispreneur Stories, where we celebrate the strength of women in business while nurturing our households. Until next time, stay fearless and keep igniting your own entrepreneurial fire. This is Kanji,
Aurora,
and Janita
signing off.
This is Ernest Strickland, President of the Black Business Association, proud to be your title sponsor on this empowering journey with Sispreneur Stories.